everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today I have a fun video. I'm actually going to be drawing myself as an Animal Crossing villager or an Animal Crossing character. Animal Crossing New Horizons is just around the corner and I have been so excited for this game. I have a confession though, I haven't actually played a mainline Animal Crossing game before. I did get very addicted to Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, and I have watched a few sort of playthroughs of other Animal Crossing games, and I have completely fallen in love. Now I am very excited about getting the new Switch game Animal Crossing New Horizons, and a lot of people online have also been very excited about it, so I decided that I wanted to do a little bit of fan art. If drawing yourself counts as fan art anyways, but yeah. So today I'm going to be drawing using my Copic Markers on some Strathmore Bristol paper. I love this paper because it is just a little bit less smooth than the sort of blending cards and like marker papers. So there is a little bit more tooth there, but it's also quite absorbent, so you're able to layer up colors quite a bit, and it's really nice to use. Now I am actually pretty excited here, not only about the game coming out very soon, but also because I have gotten a couple new inking pens. Now inking pens, you know, doesn't sound overly special, except I have a purple inking pen that works with the Copics. Now this is amazing because with my digital art, I love to do colored line art. Now I do that a little bit less with my traditional art, mainly because I don't have a whole lot of colored inking pens. Sometimes I use colored pencils, but it still turns out in a sort of different style because I sort of ink differently with colored pencils than I do with sort of like line art pens. But yeah, I have got a new Tombow ABT water-based inking pen, and it is purple. It's the color 636, I believe, and I love these Tombow dual brush pens because there is a lovely thick bullet nib on one side and a lovely brush on the other side. Now I've actually got two of those, well technically three, but recently I purchased two of those, and one is a dark blue and the other is a purple, which I'm using today, and I just get so excited when it comes to sort of new art supplies. I don't know, I get a bit giddy. So as you can see, I'm sort of drawing myself here in the sort of style of an Animal Crossing villager. Now this is actually pretty fun because it is quite a bit more of a sort of chibi look. It is very cartoony, very big head, little arms, cute little nub hands. They're basically just circles on the hands. And I absolutely love this style. I think it's super fun to draw in, and it just turns out so cute. Now of course I had to do the sort of iconic triangle nose for the Animal Crossing villagers because they all have that, and it's just so cute, and you can't really draw a villager without that, I think. As for the hair, I decided to go with a ponytail because quite often in Australia it is quite hot and my hair is very long, so I often wear a sort of high ponytail just to try and tame those crazy locks. But I also have a few sort of spikes coming out of the ponytail because my hair is a little bit crazy and yeah, it sort of sticks out in different directions, and I thought that that would be pretty cute to illustrate in the style. Now of course this wouldn't be Animal Crossing without me actually drawing an actual animal, so I decided to also draw my pet cat Pumpkin as an Animal Crossing animal villager, if that makes sense. The more animal characters. Now they have a typical model that they use for their cat characters, and I mostly stuck to that. However, I did add a few of my own additions. Mainly her tail is a lot more scruffy and fluffy and big compared to the other sort of cat's tails, mainly because my cat Pumpkin is a medium or long-haired cat, so her tail is quite fluffy like a squirrel, so it just felt weird doing a sort of thin tail for her when that's not what she looks like. And of course I had to give her a little bow around her neck because she actually does have a sort of collar that has a little bow on it, but also I wanted to give her a little few accessories and stuff like that. Now during the sketching phase I did actually give her a nose, but I ended up taking that out when I did the inking, mainly because I just felt like it fit the art style a little bit better and it was just a little bit more cartoony and cute. Now I really am very happy that I got that purple inking pen, because I just feel like it gives a little bit something more into this illustration. It just makes it a little bit more vibrant. The purple line art is great for that sort of cartoony aesthetic, and to be completely honest, I just love it so much more knowing that the line art is purple, because purple is one of my favorite colors. Now it is finally time to do the colouring, and I've just been so excited for this part because it's been a little while since I've done an actual full Copic illustration. I've been doing a lot of interesting stuff lately. I've painted on a guitar, I've done a few acrylic paws, and yeah, I've done like oil pastel stuff, but it's been a few minutes since I've actually done a Copic illustration, and I've just been so giddy and excited to get into it. So for the colours of Pumpkin's fur, I decided to go with, funnily enough, pumpkin yellow, as well as maize and chrome orange. I just felt like they complemented each other quite a bit. The highlights were a little bit more yellowy on the sort of spectrum, but I really like that because it just gives it a sort of warm feel to it, and it just looks really good. So for the eye color, I actually decided to go with acid green because Pumpkin has green eyes, and yeah, I just wanted a really bright, vivid green to do for that. But I also added a few sort of shadows in there with another green. That other green is called Bush, and it is quite a bit more desaturated, but also a little bit warmer, and I think it complements pretty well. For her pupils in her eyes, I decided to go with some cool greys as well as a special black, and that was just so that I could have like a nice sort of dark pupil color so it would stand out differently from the bright greens. Now for the white parts of her body, I actually decided to go with a toner grey because that is a bit of a sort of a warmish neutral grey, and it was one of my new markers that I've got recently, and I really wanted to give it a go, and it turned out pretty nice. Now for her shirt, I decided to give her sort of pink clothes because I thought it would accent her orange fur very nicely, and I have to say it does, but I actually decided to add some sort of darker pink stripes over the top of that because I just really wanted to add a little bit more detail, and a lot of the time the Animal Crossing characters do have really cute patterns on their clothes, and I just had to include that. Oh, and say hello to Pumpkin herself, by the way. She probably realized that I was drawing her, and she decided that she just wanted to walk all over the art and try and get my attention. She's adorable, and I love her. So for the skin tones, I decided to go with a mix of milky white, barley beige, and a little bit of sand as well for the shadows. And I love those tones because there's a mix of sort of warmish skin tones as well as more pinkish tones, and a little bit of a sort of a darkness in there too for the shadows. And it is pretty much one of my go-to palettes for drawing a skin tone similar to myself. Sometimes though I will add a little bit of extra really pale pink and red tones in there, and sometimes I'll add a little bit of purples in the shadows, but I decided against that this time because I just wanted it a little bit more on the cartoony side, a little bit more vibrant. Whoops! So for the shirt, I decided to go with a nice sort of color for the shirt, but also some sort of paint pattern, like messy sort of textures on it, mainly because I am an artist myself, obviously, but I often do get paint on my shirt quite a bit, and I thought I would just sort of include that as the sort of pattern for this sort of outfit. It took me a little while to decide on the colors that I wanted to pick, mainly because I wanted the colors to sort of accent the rest of the illustration, and I wanted it to all fit and look nice, and I didn't want to just grab random colors and do something that I regretted. So I actually decided to go with canary yellow for the shirt color, mainly because yellow is one of my favorite colors, but also I decided to do a few different colors over the top as the paint textures, and keep them sort of like complement to the yellow. So we have like a nice sort of reddish color, but it's not too intense, and then we have a nice sort of cool green color, as well as a light blue and a lovely purple. Now for the pants, I decided to go with a sort of jeans texture, mainly because that is something I wear quite a bit, and for that I used some nice blue colors. They're the B, I think 60 or 90 or something like that. They're the ones that are sort of more desaturated and slightly grayish looking, and I just really love using those colors to do denim. Now for the hair, I decided to keep it slightly lighter than usual and keep the shading to a minimum, because this is quite a bit of a cartoony art style, and I wanted it to sort of stick to the sort of Animal Crossing aesthetic. So I decided to go with Carob Cocoa for the main base color, but also a little bit of sand for the highlights, and for the shadows a small amount of burnt umber. Now for the sort of lighter parts down the bottom, I ended up going sort of more towards the yellowy tones, and that was because I do have a sort of ombre sort of balayage thing in my hair, so it is lighter down the bottom, and I wanted to keep that gradient there. Now for the shoes, I decided to go with crimson because I just really like that color on shoes. I kind of really want a pair of Converse that are that color, so I end up drawing myself with them. So now for the background, I decided to go with the sort of patterns that are sort of in the branding for Animal Crossing New Horizons, and they're sort of little leaves in a nice sort of tealy kind of color, and I just really like that sort of repeating pattern, so I decided to use basically that for the background. And I like it because it adds a little bit more detail and color and interest into the illustration, but it doesn't detract too much from the characters themselves. So here is the final results, and I just love this so much. It is one of my favorite illustrations, and it's one of my favorites from the drawing myself in this sort of style series. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below if you're getting Animal Crossing New Horizons, or if you've played any Animal Crossing games in the past, or you don't even know what that is and you just watch my videos because you like my art. I appreciate you. Anyways, smash like, subscribe to get your scribble fix in the future, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone!